We think the Davidic promise was broken and conditional.
Okay, where do you get that idea?
From what Jesus says, from what the Old Testament says, anytime God makes a covenant with his people, it's always conditional, all right? Even if it's spoken on in an exaggerative way and says the covenant will be olam, you don't even accept this. You believe that there's a covenant that was given to Isaac and that there's specific conditions that were broken, and then Jesus came and reestablished a new covenant, right? With a bunch of different rulings and teachings that are in contrast to the Mosaic customs and traditions and the Abrahamic customs and traditions.
We don't think Jesus is a Davidic Messiah. We think he's a Levitical Messiah.
So there's multiple messiahs?
No, there's just one Messiah. It's Jesus, and he's not a Davidic Messiah. The promise of a Davidic Messiah was broken.
Oh, so there was supposed to be two messiahs, or there was at least a possibility.
Yeah. So if Israel kept their covenant, what Ezekiel prophesied about the third temple and Israel being sanctified and restored and all that good stuff would have came to pass. But because they broke their covenant and God divorced them, this was no longer the case.
So what is the meaning of Jesus being the Messiah? What is the point of that?
What do you mean, what is the point of that?
What is the Levitical Messiah supposed to do?
What Jesus did.
Which is, it seems like he failed pretty badly in the Muslim idea.
He did not. He failed only in Christianity, not in Islam.
Okay, well, it seems like basically everyone. I mean, where's from the 1st century all the way to the 7th century? Where's the Muslims? Where's the Muslim Christians?
Okay, yeah, the Jamesonian Church. We have their writings in the Pseudo-Clementine homilies and recognitions.
Do you know about the Jewish Christians, your war point? Do you know about the Jewish Christians, the Evionim, the Ebionites, the early Nazarenes, and what they believed about Jesus? How they affirmed a prophetic Messiah, not a divine Messiah? How they believed in a monolithic
I looked into one of those
idea and conception of God. Okay. War point, let me give you the criterion because you asked the question, right? Like, why do you interrupt when you're asking a question? You're saying, where are the Muslims that existed historically from the 1st century to the 7th century? We're going over groups that have proto-Islamic beliefs. We have groups like the Jewish Christians who believed in a unipersonal idea and conception of God. They believed in monos theos. They believed in a prophetic Messiah. They didn't believe in a divine Messiah. They didn't believe in or affirm and a tripersonal idea and conception of God, right? They believe that Jesus was a man descended from human, right? And that there was no sort of pre-existence or divinity attributed to him. They upheld the Mosaic covenant and a lot of the rulings and all of the teachings and the customs and the traditions, the 613 mitzvot and yitzvot, whatever you want to call them, right? They believed that the Torah had undergone some sort of corruption as well. They believed that there was false pedicopes that have been inserted into the Old Testament, and rulings and teachings and slander upon the prophets were fabrications made by people with ill imagination, is what they would say in their Pseudo-Clementine homilies, book 3, chapter 52, right? So whenever it comes to almost identicality, whenever it comes to the beliefs about Jesus, whenever it comes to beliefs about doctrine of salvation as well, they didn't believe in this whole idea of some sort of substitutionary, vicarious man-God atonement for the sins of humanity. They negated this and they rejected this. And I can even go over some attestation where we can easily go over these beliefs to show them denying the crucifix as well. So whenever it comes to the crucifixion ideas, whenever it comes to the soteriological ideas, whenever it comes to the Christological ideas, whenever it comes to the theological ideas, whenever it comes to the idea and interpretation of the law and the idea and interpretations of the Old Testament scripture, it goes hand in hand and it coincides a lot with Islam. Warpoy, are you familiar with scholars even who make this point? Like Jeffrey,
you're saying a lot.
James D.G. Okay, but even then, like we're offering you a very substantial.
Can I respond to the
I got you, Warpoy. But think about it. When you ask a question like this, you should expect an exhaustive answer. You're saying, where do we find Christians with Islamic beliefs? So I can't just tell you, oh, some Christians believe Jesus is a prophet. They're hence therefore Muslims. I'm showing you identicality between the Muslim idea and conception of Jesus and the early Christians and their idea and conception of Jesus, and they thrived for centuries. So if you want to address any points or any contentions, go ahead. But don't ask a very full, convoluted question, and don't if you're not going to expect an exhaustive answer. Okay. But every point is interconnected.
Okay, so basically my response to that is most of that was basically talking about how they're not Orthodox Christians, we could say. But that wasn't really my question.
You said we're the Muslims who identify themselves as
them.
We're the Muslims existing historically. So anything that doesn't
he didn't say they're just not Orthodox. He said they hold to proto-Islamic doctrines.
He said among that, but he also said they don't believe in. For example, one of the things he said is they don't believe in a tri-personal God.
Yes, that's just
the earliest Christians,
brother.
And he said
brother.
they do not. But that doesn't mean they believe Islamic things.
Yeah, that's just. But he didn't just mention that. He just mentioned them to contrast your idea of orthodoxy.
Well,
but They believe
I was responding to that
in
part.
they believe in our Christology. They believe in our soteriology. They believe in our methodology when approaching the Torah and the gospel.
All right, he just went off for 5 minutes. Now you're.
Yeah, I just broke it down.
Because you're
They, but
confused.
I just
I
broke it down
barely got
simply.
out 10 words.
All right,
before
so
the
what?
second explanation.
Here we're gonna land it here. They believe in our Christology, theology, soteriology, and methodology.
Okay, which
Go ahead.
group specifically? He said one of the groups. He,
No.
Ebionites
It's
and
a
Nazarenes and
general.
Jewish
Just wait.
Christians.
no, but you
It's
can't pick and
it's-
choose 5.
Where
heretical
point.
groups.
It's the Jewish Christians.
Who? Which group?
It's not a group. It's just the Jewish Christians.
Like an
They don't-
umbrella.
they don't have-
term to refer
they
to
don't. They don't have a specific name for them. That maybe people called
Well,
them
he
by
mentioned
different
some
names.
names. He mentioned the Ebionites, but they
Right.
believe
That's because their enemies called them Ebionites.
So we did
We
mention a sect.
we don't-
So why are you asking the same questions?
Wait,
One?
we don't
So-
we don't know if they called themselves Ebionites. That's
Mhm.
what the early fathers
Okay,
called them.
but if we, for our purposes, we can call them by what they were named.
No, but it
My
wasn't
point is what they
just.
believed
It
was not
wasn't
Islamic.
just. It was very Islamic.
Well, I searched out a very brief search, and they believe some things that are not Islamic.
Like
Like,
Okay, I searched up. I can give me a second.
nice.
Ebionites.
I thought you searched it up, but I thought you had an example that you got to search it up again, bro.
Yeah, because it was like.
I give us.
I don't know,
If
some
you
sort.
think we haven't heard any of this, go ahead.
Okay, so here I'm just on Wikipedia. It's the overview of some of their beliefs. It says they claim that Jesus and the Christ were two different beings, and therefore Christ is an angel of God who was incarnated in Jesus and was adopted as a son of God.
those are only later Ebionites in the 4th century in the time of Epiphanius.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so where do you
Epiphanius
get-
is deeply confused whenever it comes to his attribution to the.
Because Epiphanius, out of all independent attestation of, by the way, this is just Ebionites, but Jewish Christians were just Ebionites. So out of all of our independent attestation from Tertullian, from Jerome, from Origen, from Eusebius, from Justin Martyr, all the other early attestation we have, and from the letter of James, from the Didache, from the Gospel of Thomas, from Q, all of these are Jewish Christian documents. All right, from all of our independent attestation, the only one that says that is Epiphanius, who's saying that about Ebionites in the 4th century.
Exactly.
And
even then,
he
he's
actually
confused.
and actually
This is so
Epiphanius
much that
confirm.
would-
Just wait. Epiphanius confirms these are later heretical Ebionites who got their beliefs mixed with a Gnostic sect.